Hi guys, I'm Nick and he's Nick.
Hi,
I'm Nick Robinson, he's Nick Smith.
Professor Robinson.
Oh yeah, because I don't have my
Here's a chalk.
no. Chalk.
You're not writing anymore.
The title of this is called Portugal, the show is over. Now, the show is over, but it's not really, because it's like the general, what's been happening over the last 5 years has finished. And all these incentives have stopped, like the golden visa and the NHR and all these things that get quite complex. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. We just want to sum it up and give you a little bit of a background about what's been happening over the last few years.
It's the reactionary thing. The Portugal, the show is over, is the reactionary feeling that we get from everyone who comes through the channel, from other videos that we see, and other advisors. But there is obviously a hell of a lot more behind Portugal than just these things. But I think that we need to touch on these things. A little bit of the background, but also what they are and how they exist right now, and then what the impact of this guy has.
Because essentially, yeah, exactly what Nick's saying. I mean, Portugal is a fantastic place to live for all the normal reasons, like 300 days of sunshine, beautiful food, beautiful people, all that kind of stuff, and fantastic environment, great culture.
Low cost of living.
Low cost of living. But although that's not so true anymore. It depends where you are.
Depends on where you are.
Depends on where you are. But we're here to talk about all this other stuff. Now we're talking about the golden visa and the NHR, and then we'll get into the Prime Minister. Okay, so now the golden visa started back in 2009, I think it was. I hope that's correct. And it's been going for a long time. And essentially, it's stopped right now because 98% of the people who would apply for the golden visa would do it through buying a property. And you can't do that anymore. You can only do it through a fund. And remember, we went up to Porto and we spoke to that fund called VidaCap. So we've got, and we've also got another connection as well. We can get you funds through. So chat to us. We can put you on that path real fast. Okay. And these guys are super efficient, which is great. So the golden visa is essentially ended, except for those routes. So you can still find it if you're really committed. The second thing is the NHR, the non-habitual residency scheme. We did a survey to all of you guys on our email list, and only 40% of the people knew about it before they came to Portugal. So it's not such a major driver, but it is a 10-year tax break. And we do have, at the top end of the scale, like a 48% tax here in Portugal. So the NHR takes that down to about 20%. But those figures are very general. And like Nick, you'll support me as well. It's like the problem with making a video like this is that everything is super specific to where you're coming from, what kind of investments you held, how's your money being paid out to you, etc., etc., etc. Whether it's dividends or royalties from properties or rental agreements or whatever. So then you really need to go and see a financial advisor and work out exactly what the scenario is for you. And we well connected with financial advisors. And also, I'm actually married to one, of course. So that helps. But trust me, we don't talk about tax on the dinner table because it bores me to tears.
No, I think ultimately we're in a position where these two things, the golden visa, as you're saying, is ended in a format, and the NHR is coming to an end via this ridiculous draconian kind of statement and giving months to come to an end. It's still accessible. There's still an opportunity to get it. So if you're, depending on where you are with everything, there is a few sort of mechanical things to understand depending on where your status is, but in reality, we're successfully doing at the moment for about 6 or 7 people running the test phase just to make sure it was working.
So just to simplify that a little bit, essentially to get the NHR, you need to be a resident, or you need to be in the process of applying for your residency. And they've said that the NHR is going to stop on the 31st of December. Okay, but that's also under contention. It may change because of the Prime Minister and the state flood.
No, it's fine. I was just to add to that it's not that you have got your appointment. It's that you've had your appointment and you've got the first visa is acceptable. So if you have the actual physical visa to then come to Portugal under D78, then that can be used to get into the NHR program. Which is fine. You then need an address, which is another sort of hurdle. Yeah, exactly. But if you don't have either of that, there's still a way to do it. So, as I say, from that, it's quicker and easier to have a conversation. So please get in touch, on that, and we can explain how you can do that.
Great. Okay, so essentially there's a lot of drama around the NHR. A lot of people are panicking. A lot of people email me and comment and saying, all my plans are just absolutely scuppered because I can't get my residency in time. So yeah, chat to us because there may be a way. Okay, there really may be a way. And obviously it depends on whether you want to move. Some people are in the position where they actually haven't really made the decision to move to Portugal yet, and they don't want to make it in a rush, and that's fine. That's okay. But you'll miss out on the NHR.
But then countering that, with everything, obviously we're about to move on to the things that may change and shake things up again, but there will be, speaking to accountants, there will be incentive. Portugal's not going to just suddenly close the door on everything. The main focus on this really has been around pension incomes and the EU clamping down on this more than anything and forcing Portugal's hand in line with the rest of Europe. So that's one angle. Is it going to be a place for people to still come and work and and thrive and be beneficial? I think it will. If my accountant's to be believed, there will be something similar. But until I see that in law, until that's passed.
But yeah, and supporting what you're saying as well. Like my wife is always saying, what happens after the NHR? She works a lot with people who are, when the NHR is going to finish, she works like all these absolutely legal ways to minimize tax. So there's a lot of light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah.
But now let's move into the whole bomb that the Prime Minister just dropped. He resigned. Okay. He resigned on corruption charges or suspicion of corruption charges. And apparently that's going back a long way, but that's total hearsay. Who knows? It's just, there's a lot of things that he's promised that he hasn't actually come through with, according to some Portuguese people I've been speaking to. There's this third bridge in Lisbon that was one of his election promises. I will make a third bridge in Lisbon. And there's the Ponte 25 de Abril, which is the sort of Californian style Golden Gate Bridge going across Lisbon. And then there's the Vasco da Gama. And this other one is going to alleviate a lot of the traffic. That hasn't happened. The new airport was supposed to be rejuvenated, renovated, or even a new one is supposed to be made. And that hasn't happened either. There's supposed to be a train line all the way to Madrid, a high-speed one. That hasn't happened either. So there's lots of projects that haven't happened. And also, behind all that and clouding all that is this massive problem with the rising house prices, which now a lot of Portuguese people are feeling that the foreigners are to blame for this. Whereas there's no real economic link. And I've spoken to a lot of economists between the golden visa and actual rising house prices. Now that may be a lot of a contentious issue, but the people I've been speaking to say, it's in a different level. It's like we're talking about the average house prices, not the high-end house prices. And they're unrelated. But then the NHR could actually have affected the house prices, and apparently there are signs of it actually turning around already, slightly. So there's a lot of stuff here, and there's a lot of drama at the moment about the Prime Minister resigning. And tomorrow, actually Thursday, the 9th of November, just making sure I get my dates right, the President, who controls everything, is turning around and he's making a statement tomorrow to see what we're going to do now, because he could do a multitude of things. He could call a general election, or he could ask the ruling PS party to actually put forward another candidate for Prime Minister because this one's off, and then you could have a referendum, you could have anything. So there's a whole bunch of things that are going, and then tucked into all this is the state budget, which has just been announced. And I think it's been approved. It was approved, wasn't it? Yeah.
I think so, yeah.
But it might have to be reapproved, and all these questions are going on. Then what happens to NHR, to the Golden Visa, to Mais Habitação, to Alojamento Local, which is the Airbnb rule. So all these things are hanging in the balance. So it's quite an interesting time. It's a good time to keep your eye on the news. So that's why we made this video for you, just to make you aware of all these changes happening. But like Nick says, no drama. There's still a way, and you could still get in, even though there's all this chaos going on.
For sure, yeah. I think that's the main point. Is really it's something that the country needed to do to recover itself after the crash, and I still think it's a great place to be, regardless of
all the incentives.
All the incentives. Sorry, yeah. And I think in reality these things will morph and change. It's my personal opinion. That's obviously fact. Drives that, but at the moment reactionary is, I had to pull the plug. I can't do my move. Well, that's not needed. We can do things now. If NHR was your absolute backbone to your move, but equally, I think, as I say, I think this chaos, the more chaos that the Prime Minister's caused, will bring out opportunity. But we just don't know what that is. So we'll try and provide you with as much information as we can when we get it.
I just want to throw one little tidbit out there. If you are Portuguese and you haven't lived here and haven't been a resident here for 5 years, there's also another tax program, that tax incentive that you can take care of that you can take advantage of for 5 years. So you come back here and you get a 5-year tax break. It's like half the tax or something. So there are lots of these things that are going on in Portugal. Also, like for example, that we've been aware of, there's lots of funds here available for people starting a business here in Portugal. Obviously, you have to be a resident and have your own business and stuff. So there's lots of opportunity here in Portugal. So yeah, I wouldn't worry. Just get in touch, and then we can talk you through the process.
Absolutely.
Great.
Cool.
Thanks, Nick.
Thanks, Professor.
I didn't have my little thing.
You didn't.
I'll see you in a more normal video when I'm more comfortable doing videos about Lagos and stuff.
Perfect.
AlgarveAddicts.com